All right, I'm going to do a quick tarot reading and an astrological analysis for the earth signs here. For the Pisces full moon today. What is the date? August 30th, 2023. But whenever you find the message, you might find some resonance with it. If you don't, that's okay. It's just words. Meanings are inferred through the symbology that you pick up in your life. So this is for the earth signs. I'm using the Woodward Tarot deck. And I'm learning tarot. So I'm using combination of what I know and what I feel intuitively. And I'm going to give a message based off of that. I did a little bit of shuffling and just sitting in quiet contemplation earlier, and I could feel that there's a shift in the energies. Obviously, we got a lot of planets retrograde. Uranus just went retrograde. Actually, it's stationed retro today. Stationed completely 2 days ago, which means it doesn't appear to be moving in the sky. In any case, the information, the message I got through that was that in life, we have to chop wood, carry water. We've got to do what we need to do in this world in order to move forward at all times. Sometimes it appears we're going backwards when actually we're digesting experiences, deepening the reservoir of our experience through dynamics. And so we are dropping the Ten of Wands with an underlying current of the devil. The habituality, the habits, the coping mechanisms, the enemies, the outdated dynamics, which at one time may have informed us, developed our strengths. Sometimes they start to hold us so that we can't flow on at a more authentic expression of who we are here now, today. And so with that Ten of Wands we're dropping, it is it's more of a realization of what once worked for us may not work for us any longer. And it's a discernment of what we can release and what we hold on to. And a lot of times what we release can be seen as the devil or seen as control mechanisms or coping mechanisms. Can be seen as old relationships, old jobs, old perspectives. A lot of that is internalized, of course. The world around us is a reflection of what we feel and what we're aware of within ourselves. All right, so I'm going to lay the cards out first, and then I will show you them as I go through. All right. Now I'm going to just lay them out now. So this is for the earth signs. Take as it resonates. And then, so I'm laying down 9 cards. Then I'm taking the bottom card and a cut card. Very powerful, very interesting. All right. Spirit to form at its most true sense. All right, so the first card out we have is the Moon card. Number 18. Mars just crossed over the Libra point. We've got the bowl here, that Venusian energy. Obviously sitting on a mound of dirt, a hill. This thing isn't focusing too well, but if you look at this card, you can see the reflection of the moon. The waters are rippling slightly. There's a, it appears like there's a flow to the emotions right now. We're in Virgo season, dynamic times. Virgo is a mutable sign. It is the sign where Mercury is, Mercury rules Virgo, and Mercury is at its strongest in Virgo for mundane matters, to bring metaphysics to the mundane. Trying to make sense of the murkiness of Pisces, the potential, the void of all creation, the ineffable. So this card speaks to me. There are emotions, deep emotions within us. If you look at that pond, if you go beneath the waters, you see what's growing there, what has been stagnant, what has been settled. And there seems to be movement on the top. And the bowl looks like it's in stride, about to strike a pose here. And we've got the birds flying above it. So there seems to be movement in this card. And in Virgo season, with this full moon in Pisces, there are realizations arising. What once was settled is now coming to the surface so that we can grow and learn through those processes. Next card out is the Eight of Vessels, rebirth. So now generally you'll see someone leaving 8 cups and heading to the mountains. They're going to the source of the river here. And when you go into the source of the river, you're leaving what you once knew emotionally for what could be. You're heading to the 9 of Cups. In the process of seeking the 10, you realize yourself. You realize the value of all the emotional issues and all the emotional lessons and all the emotional wisdom that you've gained through your experiences. All those things that you've hidden and repressed. All those things that have become your strengths, when they no longer flow with you, when they are in resonance with a time and space that no longer serves your best or highest meaning, you move on. And so there's a rebirth happening in the emotional front. Virgo being the transformation of Aquarius. A realization. We're heading to the 10 of Cups here. So we're going from the 8 to the 10, and on the path you realize the 9. 9 is that Martian number. 9 is, if you add 1 plus 8, the 18, you get the 9. So Mars just went into Venus's sign, Libra. South Node is in Libra. We're doing relationships new because the North Node is in Aries. So there may be situations and opportunities to realize what it is you've been learning through relational dynamics, whether that be new or old ones. So you're finding this 10 of Cups. You're on the path right now. The realization, bringing us to the 10, the wheel. Now the wheel here, this is like the Wheel of Fortune in the standard deck. But on this, it is a creation. It is something that is tanned and cured in the sun and the moon. So the emotional energies and the divine will which flows through those emotional experiences and energies. So it could be fated events coming to existence. You know, the wheel is often surrounded by the four fixed signs. Spirit to form at its most fundamental. And here, you know, you could see that life is a process. It's a creation. It is art. And this is the opportunity for you to realize that through your own emotional awareness as you move forward in these times. Next, we got the Six of Vessels, reunion. So if you've got connection, if you've got some kind of soul tie, a soul tribe realization, you could be finding that in these times. Maybe it's a past lover, maybe it's someone you never met, maybe it's an old friend, maybe it is a remembrance of the nostalgia you felt at your purest when you were young. Maybe there's a realization of these emotions which are helping you to flow forward into a more authentic and complete expression of yourself. And we got another six. After that Six of Vessels reunion, we've got Six of Arrows, transition, another card of motion. Going over the ocean here. You can see in the background there is a little rock mound on another slab of earth coming out of the water. The moon is highlighting that slab of earth. So you're coming from the emotions, the realization, following your divine will towards better days. You've got an understanding of this reunion. You have an understanding of the power of these times right here, right now. The nodes in the cardinal, on the cardinal cross in the signs of Libra and Aries. So leaving what once was for what now could be through an acceptance and a realization of that acceptance within yourself. Another six. So we've got 666 here. When you add those up, again, you get 18, you get the 9, you get this Martian energy, bringing spirit to form. 6 is a Venusian number. And in this deck, it's exploitation. 6 of Stones. So you're coming from lack. You know, what our strengths, they build us up, they keep us going, we build through those, and when they fall out of resonance with the changing times, with the expression of our own awareness, when our psyche needs to break the mold and grow and flow forward, we find that what once satisfied us no longer does. And sometimes we hold ourselves in these positions for other people, in these statics, so that other people's dynamics can flow. And in that process, we may become discontent. The quiet life of desperation, but also the wisdom and awareness of what values nourish us and which values no longer nourish us. Which are ours, which are not ours. You see the fire in the background getting closer. The bees no longer have any honey or any flowers to collect pollen from. So we're going to take some beehives on and move to more fertile grounds with that awareness. Our experience informs us. It doesn't hold us back. You're a dynamic. Then we get to this Two of Vessels, attraction. Now this is the soulmate card. Coming together, you see that? They're both pouring water into these chalices. I wish my camera would focus. In any case, we got a lot of different storylines here. I mean, we had the Six of Cups right above that. Right above the Six of Cups, we had the Eight of Vessels walking away from the emotional hang-ups towards our Ten of Vessels, Ten of Cups, to realize the Six of Cups, bringing us to this Two of Cups again. So this could be soul ties, soul mates. It could be a realization of your most pure, authentic expression of yourself, which you reciprocate with reality by doing things in a more updated, here-now frame of mind through acceptance of your emotional awareness. And I dropped this one again. And joy, Three of Vessels. So maybe there's something to celebrate in all this. Maybe you're creating something. Two becomes three. You have to be an individual to come in unification. The diversity is individuality and reciprocation to another, to this world. And through that you create, which is number three. And it is also this joyous expression. Now you can see one bird's got 1 foot on the ground. Another bird's got 1 foot close to the ground. I mean, they're both off. And another one seems to be flying up higher or landing. So it is coming to terra firma. It's establishing foundation through doing what brings you joy and finding those others, that other that can help you to obtain that. You can see here there's 2 beaks crossing the chest of the third. Almost looks like it's pointing to the heart here. So nourishing your heart, honoring your emotions and where your emotions have brought you to this point. Every breath brought you to this moment. Every mistake is an opportunity to transform it through time and space. Then we've got, this was on the bottom of the deck, King of Stones, the wolf. So this is a very earthy sign. You can see even in the dead of winter, we've got the fire within. This animal is very robust. It can handle all climates. Wolves can run for days, howling to the moon. So the moon has informed this beast of the value of what it is, what it brings to this world. Establishing new foundations, even when the world looks like it's cold, it's dark, it's breaking down. There's still that fire within you, that wild spirit, waiting to be established in form. And on the cut, we had the seer, number 2. Now, another number 2. This is the equivalent of the high priestess. Now, she's in tune with her intuition. See the still waters? She's meditating. She's getting in touch with the emotions, the still emotions which rise the purity of all the rapids and all the other flows and the stagnation. The reunion, the transition, all that is within you. It's brought to awareness when you get out of the mind and you get into the feeling and you honor the feeling. So that's kind of a really nice read for this Pisces full moon. Now let's look at the chart real quick here. All right, so here's the Pisces full moon. I've got it set for Minneapolis. Wherever you're at, you can look at the chart the time you find this, and you can see where it was for you to get a more detailed understanding of the psyche that you might have within yourself, how you're feeling it personally. For me, where I'm at, it's in the 6th house, which is the natural house for Virgo. So we're going to go with the natural house for Virgo. We're going to start with Virgo, then we'll move towards Capricorn, then Taurus. So the sun here opposing the moon, that's a full moon. And you see the moon has Saturn here coming into a balsamic phase conjunction. So it's that emotional authority, the understanding of the trials, the tribulations, and the cultivation of your emotions, your awareness being brought to form. And we also have Black Moon Lilith, the repression of the anima, the shadowy aspects of ourself that we have held back for others, because there was no place for it in this world or in ourself, in our own awareness, because we weren't in dynamics which honored that authentic, raw expression. So Black Moon Lilith coming into a balsamic phase conjunction with the sun, the divine will, the life force which flows through us. And in this expression, it is a realization, rising. And the realizations, oftentimes they come to us through our feelings, filtered through the emotions, which filter into the mind. They update the frame of reference with which our cognitive loops, our cognitive dissonance, and our relational dynamics are informed. Now Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, the ruler of Gemini, is in retrograde now, been retrograde for a few days, maybe a week now. And we have this new phase conjunction with Pallas Athena, the higher wisdom, the divine wisdom, which comes through realizing your power, which brings perception. So instead of leaning on what has been known, established, the facts as they are, you're leaning on what could be, and you need to lean into intuition for that. We limit ourselves by information, and that's natural. But there are times in life where you have to lean into the feeling, the true, authentic expression of your path in order to move forward in the most optimal trajectory for yourself, one that honors you and this world simultaneously. Now let's look to the nodes here real quick. We'll go with the South Node first, because Virgo is the spirit of Libra. So South Node ruled by Venus. Now she's stationing direct on the 12 degrees, the North Node of Neptune in Leo. She'll station in a few days to go direct, and then she will be going shadow path direct. And Juno will catch up to her. They will make a conjunction. This is the alchemical wedding with the self. Looking at the reading, it could be an alchemical wedding with the self through another, or through your friends, your connections, those who are tied with you at the soul level, who feel in resonance with you at that subatomic level. And we have Mars here in the sign of Libra. Mars now at the North Node in Aries, in that Saturnian, well actually it's in the Martian decan, or area of the chart. I have the Ptolemaic breakdown here on the outer wheel. So these are the sign attributions to the degrees that Ptolemy used in ancient Hellenistic astrology. And Mars is entering over the Libra point through Saturnian energies. And it is actually in a working opening quincunx with Saturn here. So it's the working transformation of old realizations coming through an emotional awareness. And it's more so an awareness of ourself by learning what to release and learning what to hold on to. And we're feeling into that rather than breaking it down into bite-sized idioms or anecdotal expressions through experiences that we had to objectify because of our relational dynamics. So Mars here, Mars is very diplomatic in Libra. The power is in the mind in order to see what we should release and what we should hold. How do we compromise in order to bridge the gap, to make something real, to make it optimal for all parties involved? And if you think about it rationally, you have to do that for yourself in order to do that for another. And you actually learn to do that for yourself by finding imbalance in the world that pulls us into ourselves to understand the true value of who we are and what we bring. Once we start to learn that, we can see it in others, and we are more accepting. We are more forgiving. And we're also stronger. We also know where to stand up for ourselves. Now let's see, let's go to Aries here in a balsamic phase conjunction with the South Node. So we're doing relationships differently. We're doing them in new ways. Now I have a North Node in Libra, conjunct this. Mine's at 22 Libra, so I'm doing my North Node the way I've always done it. It's a dichotomy, but my awareness is now changed. I've released a lot of my old baggage. I've released the loops that I've digested. So, we always have choices. Sometimes we choose wrong for the right reasons and we don't realize it till later on, till the harvest. And we're in a harvest time now. If you face your fears, if you go forward on those things, those emotional hang-ups which have held you back, you will be rewarded. Judged by this reading, you will be rewarded in your relationships because you will have a new understanding of yourself. You're honoring yourself in a new way. So you reciprocate and you project that into this world differently, and others pick up that energy. When you do well for yourself, you do well for others because they see by example how they can do well. And if they can't see it, they will see it eventually. It's just some people digest experiences and it take longer because they're digesting other things as well. We have all these disparate dynamics and they coalesce within us. And they grow through us and they help us to grow. Now I did put Apollon here. Apollon is 4 degrees of Scorpio. So in this chart it is transforming the wisdom and understanding. And it is the spirit of Libra which informs Scorpio. So it is through these relational dynamics that our shadows are brought to light so that we can digest them and we can bring them forward in an optimal way where our strengths can be turned into an awareness through what we had experienced, the contrast here in Gemini, where Vesta is fueling our passions. So we're honoring this awareness through following the passion which rises through our emotional understanding, acceptance. Now we've got Pluto here. Pluto is trining Mars. Mars crossed the threshold here. It's an out of sign or out of element trine. So what we had embodied is now being realized in the mind. And this is how you apply what you know to be true for yourself in relation to this world, in relation to others, and you see the results of that. The evidence becomes clear. Pluto's retrograde. So there's going to be circumstantial experiences with others and with this world to help us realize that, reinforce what that is. Now, Uranus is in a loose trine, now going retrograde. So it's subtle hints, subtle understandings, subtle intuitive flows which come to us, which may reinforce. So to me, it represents what we had known when we were young, what values we had known when we were young, and how we bring that forward into this world. Now we have Neptune Neptune was opposing Mars. Mars is shaking off the dream and realizing the dream that it could create anew at this time. So that's more of a Virgoan perspective. Now, if you've got Capricorn heavy in your chart, rising, sun, moon, or any placements there, maybe some of the symbology here for you is a transformation of your awareness through a newfound will, a divine will which is rising within you. Maybe society, maybe tradition, maybe family, maybe relationships have fallen out of resonance and you've been transforming, digesting, releasing whatever it was that held you back. Maybe you're seeing where you can grow now into new expression, where you do not have to hold yourself to another's judgment or the standings of expectation through consensus reality dictates, through control mechanisms, through contracts, through connections, which have expectations based on fear and emotional withdrawal, emotional stagnancy. And you can always come through those things when you face your fears, when you face those emotional hang-ups within yourself. You don't have to do it blindly, you don't have to do it recklessly, you just have to check in with yourself on what feels authentic for you. When you do well for yourself, you do well for others. Now, squaring the North Node, it's a test to your conviction, to your growing spirit within you. What do you feel within to be true? How does that translate to your emotional loops? How is that emotional loop reinforced a frame of mind dictated by your relations, dictated by the traditions, the familial expectation? And how can you honor what that is without sacrificing yourself to what that is? So we're coming into a higher expression of our own unique values. And we're using our divine will to reinforce an egoic will that we can bring into this world that reciprocates value rather than takes or defends. And the Promethean reach here with Uranus, it's change, changing the values. How can you grow new foundations? How can you stand in your power and howl at what you had hidden, what you had held because it was a wound you had to hold and hide and protect? How can you bring that to the forefront, not through so much your actions to declare what that is, but through your actions to nurture what that is, to cultivate it in life towards a meaningful direction, a meaningful manifestation, creation direction. And now Taurus, let's look here, we got Jupiter here. I didn't speak of Jupiter much. There is a trine with the retrograde Mercury, and there is a square with Venus. And of course, there's always cycles that are growing, and we have had hard squares and trines, nice trines, and sextiles with Jupiter in Taurus. So we're coming to realization here. Things that you have been dwelling on, things that have been on your mind for a long time are coming to realization, and you may act upon them. And you probably have a lot of reinforced energy, spirit, and divine luck, divine timing, fated timing to act on these things for the highest good for yourself and for others. These are changing times. You may not be aware of what to do, where to go, but in time they will come to you if you follow what feels right within yourself. Uranus here in Taurus, you're changing the expression of the energy flowing through you. Whatever planet you might have within the vicinity of Jupiter and Uranus here is going through a overhaul. The value of whatever it is you've gone through is being realized. And you can employ that knowledge, that experience to a higher expression of yourself, bringing wisdom to life, cultivating wisdom in the process, writing the myth, writing it in a new way, completing the story, turning the page, cultivating new foundation. The awareness of Venus here as she goes back on the shadow path is to be realized when she squares Uranus. As she squares Uranus, we will have well, Jupiter and Uranus will be in a tighter orb. So there will be an expansion of what might be possible for you through what you had repressed and how you've compromised. Maybe now you get the swing back, you get the polarity of what that is. Maybe now, since you've learned how to compromise for others, you can employ what you've compromised for. How do you bring the value in relation to others to maximize those experiences? So instead of compromising for the sake of, you compromise for the joy of. And the compromise might be the shadow aspects of ourselves that we have repressed. It might be releasing the old loops of experiences and relational dynamics, and it will be releasing the old value beliefs we've held within ourselves. All right, so that was a breakdown for the earth signs here. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want a personal reading, just go to my website and schedule a session. All right, thanks for watching, listening, and being.